You don't want the truth, because deep down in places you don't talk about at parties, you want me on that wall. You need me on that wall. We use words like honor, code, loyalty. We use these words as a backbone of a life spent defending something. You use them as a punchline, just like Thrive Loud with Lou Diamond.
It's time to take an inside look at those that are taking their lives, their businesses, and their passions to the next level. Get ready to thrive loud with Lou Diamond.
Hey, Thrive Loud listeners, Lou Diamond here. Welcome to a special episode of Thrive Loud, where we basically found a lost episode of Thrive Loud. We do a lot of interviews, we have a lot of conversations, and this took place a little over a year ago, right around the time of the 500th episode. It was actually recorded on IGTV, and it is with the amazing Alexa Curtis. This was a Thrive Loud catch-up episode, which we did on IGTV, and it was all in celebration of the 500th episode. However, somehow it got lost in the shuffle and never actually ended up in the main feed of the program. And my team of amazing interns basically came to me and said, hey, you never aired this. We got to get this on, and you got to do an intro for it. So here we are a little over a year later, and it's still relevant. It's still pretty cool. Some fun stories. Alexa catches up with us and gives her an update what she's up to and some of the goals that she had and how she was handling the time during COVID. And she's always great to connect with. So check her out on all of her socials. Alexa Curtis is everywhere. She rocks, and you're going to enjoy this conversation I had with her. Apologize a little for the audio because we're pulling it off of the Instagram feed, but I think you're going to enjoy it. So sit back and relax and enjoy this conversation in a special lost episode of Thrive Loud with Alexa Curtis.
And we are ready to kick things off, I hope. And there she is.
How are you?
I'm doing spectacular. How are you, Alexa?
Good. It's good to see you. It's been like so long.
You know, we just looked it up. You came on the show over a year ago. A year and let's call it, I think it's like a year and 2 months. So a lot has happened.
That long ago. That's quite some time.
I know, and you've been busy. So you know what I wanted to do was I wanted, we got people in the background, people waving, saying hi and all that stuff. And we have a cool green background. We'll talk, it's all on brand. You know me, I'm trying to be as on brand as you.
I know.
I wanted to catch up and hear from you what's going on because, but I'm going to work backwards. You could be the worst pillow throwing, window closing person I've ever seen in my entire life. Can you share with everybody what happened?
It didn't work well. It is still like a very open window, but I have high hopes for later.
Are you familiar with a ladder? Something like that. You know, you could step up on the ladder to try to close it as opposed to randomly throwing hello to try and close it, Alexa.
I've heard those, but they don't have one at this particular Airbnb that I'm at. So it's just not in the DNA for today.
You see, but I just want you to let you know how lucky you are. I'm going to give you the kudos because until about 2 hours ago, I had not had power for over 6 days.
Oh my God, really?
Yes. Hurricane Isaias, whatever it was, came last week, did a number on us, and we finally got power back sometime around like 4 or 5 o'clock or whatever time it was.
That's like a bunch of people that I knew too, like in Connecticut. My parents didn't have it for a few days and then it came back.
Yeah, this sucks, but we're back and we're excited because I get to catch up with you. So I want to hear what's going on. You have so many things. What I want to give you credit for is during COVID, and you could follow people on social media and everyone went through a cycle of trying to figure out what to do. You like were in turbo mode the whole time. So
that makes me happy because I didn't feel like that. This has been, I feel like for anyone, this has been so just genuinely weird. So yeah, I don't know. It's been like a very uncomfortable thing because no one, it wasn't something that, it's almost easier when something goes wrong and it's your fault than when the world makes it go wrong. You know what I mean? So yeah, it's been interesting, but hanging in there.
You moved in the middle of COVID. Stop me when I'm wrong here.
No.
You had put a lot of different promotions in place, which we'll talk about, and all these different things. You just kept. It never felt like you were stopping. Some people would be sitting there. I actually used to just like watch in and tune to you because I go, she's just moving, literally moving and doing like
So
that.
glad. No, that's so good because I literally, like I said, felt like the opposite at some points. The beginning of this felt like easy, and then I feel like it got more difficult. Yeah, I moved, then my car got broken into, and now I want to move again. But now I still like the apartment. But now I'm currently in Eastern Connecticut, just kind of like relaxing. But yeah, I don't know what was even going on when I last spoke to you. If that was like a year and a half ago, I probably would have still had the show. Maybe, I can't remember.
You did. You had that show going on. Well, let's talk about what you have going on now, because you've got a whole bunch of stuff lined up, and that'll be easier for everybody to understand. And then we could work backwards. Yeah,
I just announced the next summit. So the first one that I was supposed to have was supposed to be April 1st.
What's the summit called? What's the name of it?
Fearless Summit. And so, yeah, that is now September 26th, but virtually. Okay. So I've never done something like that. So that's interesting. And then I had a podcast that we wrapped up I wrapped up like 130 episodes, and I've decided to kind of stop that and go into another show. So that'll probably come out like early September. Okay. Really focusing on those two things.
Are you having fun?
I don't know if fun is the right word, but it's like, it's been like really interesting. I think to also watch like how social media has changed during this. And like, I feel like people have been able to really see like who's authentic versus like not authentic, especially if people like only have their phones, which can be good and bad. But yeah, I mean, yeah, I guess.
I'd say it was interesting because there were a lot of people that we connected with that actually came on the program through you. And, the Julia swim team, for example, I call them, Hannah Patton, and all these unbelievably creative young entrepreneurs. And I think that's like your niche. Like you have these people who not only have like the car in fifth gear, but it seems to be like they're like fifth gear with an extra turbo boost and a new direction going and off-roading all at the same time. That sound like you?
Yeah, no, I like that. And I'm just obsessed with like almost like scouting talent. Like I feel like I really have this ability to see someone and the potential they have. So those people, like anyone I've introduced you to, or I think like also a lot of the people on your show, like makes a lot of sense to me because a lot of them have had that similar path. And I just, find them to be people who will be ultimately really successful. And that really like intrigues me.
So I'm going to have some fun with you right now because I need you to share this story because not everybody saw this.
Okay.
Your car got broken into.
Yeah.
Now you were in Connecticut and the car was in California. Is that correct? Give the background of what happened because this was all captured on security cam video. Share the story.
And I'm trying to now be like more cautious about what I even post on social media, like in terms of where I am, because now I just am so untrusting of the world. But no, basically what happened is I was out of my apartment. I had someone staying in my apartment in Los Angeles, and I had a good friend of mine go and meet the guy who was staying in my apartment and then put all my like valuables in the car. So just like my wallet and my like passport and just like things that I was like, I don't really know this guy. Like he's a friend of a friend. And then I get a call from my landlord, and I was like so petrified because I had this guy in my apartment, and I'm like, oh my God, am I getting evicted? Like, did they find out? Whatever. And it's like this super old, like Russian guy, and he calls me on like a Saturday afternoon, and I like didn't call him back for like 6 hours because it was like, oh my God, like I'm getting evicted. They like found out. And he answers the phone, and he's like, basically, like you and one other car was broken into. We have surveillance footage. I don't know the severity of what they took. Like, and I was like, like my life was in that car. And so, yeah. And so about like a week to 2 weeks later, I got the footage and was just like incredibly like in shock to see these people do this. And now then I like put the video on TikTok and it like went viral and I had all these people sending me these like other people. And I'm like, none of these people are the people. I don't know for them, but I'm still waiting on what could happen. I don't know.
They didn't take the car. This is the thing. They broke into the car, but they didn't take the car. Like that would have been like my thought.
Well, I think the key was in the car, but the box that the key was in, the girl would have just like people who are breaking into cars, from what I can tell, are not like chilling, like hanging out, like, you know, thrifting through. They're like, let's get everything. So she literally took everything and put it in her car. And where that key would have been is like under, like in a box. So they have the key, but that key is like in a box. So now, like after her like fun day of like ravaging through my shit, sorry to swear, would have now found.
If you're not fucking swearing, I don't know what we're gonna do.
Exactly. So that's why. So now, like, she has the key, but what they're gonna do with it, I don't know.
Is there a lesson learned from this, Alexa?
Honestly, the lesson learned is like I didn't trust people. I honestly no. The lesson learned is like I didn't know that renter's insurance reimbursed you for these things. I will always have insurance.
It's only just going to cost a lot more than.
I just don't put the stuff in your car. I'm like, this was such a rare scenario. I just moved into that building. It's so locked. I still have no clue how they got in. I mean, you know, it's Los Angeles. It's not like I'm paying $1 for rent. I live in like a really nice building. Like, it's just so I don't regret anything that happened besides the fact that like people like that walk the earth.
So I'm more interested in now understanding your take on a lot of different things going at her. Can I tap into some of the recent posts that you've actually been doing? Because one of the things that you've been known for is self-awareness, self-image, empowering young girls / women into the next stage and confidence and all of that. And you have been embracing that fully. Would you not agree with me on that?
Yeah, no, I agree.
Tell people a little bit about what you've been posting in the last couple of stories, because I think this is really interesting. You've been doing that a bunch.
Well, I think
if you want.
Yeah, no, of course. I mean, I think that because people are so on their phones right now that I guess have never like been able, I think especially because I was signed with Disney, to feel like this authentic. Like I always knew, like if you meet me in person, I'm very like authentic and not rare, but like raw, like how I talk. But I think a filter on myself for like a solid year, I wasn't able to kind of really fine tune what I wanted to speak about or like be as honest, because you know you're like sign your life away, you can only say like XYZ. Right. So like quarantine has made me able, I think, spending so much time alone and like not having the same projects that I was working on or like opportunities, be able to really like find myself to feel more confident, I think, to just be completely myself and unfiltered, which is like what my podcast was 24/7. So pretty much, yeah, anything I'm posting is like my day-to-day, like every day. And I just really want young people to like see that and then also not have to feel like they need a filter on or they need to look a certain way, because that's like the opposite of what I am. And I think that people should be able to accept that more.
What's your take with everything that's been going on? We'll call it social injustice. From your take, from sitting and being alone a lot, because that's actually a really good point. A lot of people are alone and they're dealing with these issues. Or you were in, I actually remembered in Los Angeles when you were there was marching right outside where you were living. Give me your take from your experience with this. Yeah,
I mean, there's nothing like for me to say that is like bad, in the sense like I fully am completely for anyone who thinks anything that's in the way of like moving forward to talk more about racial injustice, about justice and capacity. But yeah, I mean, I was right in those protests. Like I had just moved into that apartment right when that started happening. And so that was really like quite captivating to watch that, especially not having been from California. But I went to a lot of those protests and I've still seen them now. And I mean, it was the most incredible thing because like I went to all the women's marches. I'm so for all this stuff. But I think like the backlash is like, even yesterday or like 2 days ago, I was in like a pretty rural part of Connecticut and there's like a sign on this restaurant that basically is like, you don't need to wear a mask, like it's freedom of speech, do what you want. And I like was like, this is not legal. And I didn't realize until I had left the restaurant that like, you know, there's a lot of people out there, I am gonna say I find them really backwards. That's just my personal opinion. And I like ended up researching more about this owner and this restaurant. And I mean, he's obviously like a very tight knit, whatever, Republican, you know, guns and freedom of speech. But especially with COVID, I mean, the Black Lives Matter movement, I think everyone should be able to speak about it. And unless you're racist, like talk about it. But the mask thing to me is like a whole other thing. Wear a mask. It is not a joke. Like I found that to be really disappointing that some would put that on their door when it's not freedom of speech. It's not like a topic about women's bodies. It's a legal like right to wear a mask. So that really disturbed me. But everything else I'm very much for.
It's really interesting because
Yeah.
I'm just outside here in New York, and just about everywhere you go into any building, you can't enter it without a mask, and it's really not that big a deal. It really isn't. It's just put the mask on, you're fine. And then there are these places, like my favorite story out of all of COVID was the governor of Georgia actually suing the mayor of Atlanta because the mayor of Atlanta was making people wear masks to go into certain places. And I sat there, I go, is this what we're spending our time on?
Yeah.
I mean, and look what's happening in all these states. It's challenging. You know, this virus is going to go through a lot of different things. Just protect somebody. Just put on a freaking mask. It's not that hard.
When I saw that sign, I was like, I thought it was illegal. Like, I thought you had to. I was like shocked that it's not legal to like not wear a mask, whatever. But everything else, I mean, I'm trying to think of like anything. You'd have to ask me like specific topics, but I mean, everything else relating to like what has gone on in the past 6 months, I couldn't agree more with the anger that people have to literally everything going on, and incredibly rightfully so.
Let's talk TikTok. You think it's going to go away? Will you be upset? Do you care? Have you done enough dances that you know what you need to do?
I hate the word influencer. I don't even call myself an influencer. So something like TikTok to me is like very odd. I had 2 videos that have gone viral, and it's like been really interesting to see. I found TikTok from those experiences, and like I've never gone viral. I don't care about going viral, to be an incredibly aggressive platform. Like the comments that I got on those videos in particular were so mean, so derogatory. And they weren't dancing videos compared to other platforms, which to me is like very disappointing. But I don't know what it is about TikTok. I don't really care about I just find it to be very odd. But I thought it was the most angry, like filled with angry, like bored people that were commenting. That's what I found.
I like the dances. That was the only thing, just to watch, you know, like Shaquille O'Neal or LeBron James try and do something coordinated, you know, while stuck in quarantine. I thought that was entertaining. That's about it. Otherwise, I just couldn't get it.
No, I like watching celebrities and stuff. What they do is really interesting because it's obvious like they're just like us, whatever. But like the little girls who are posting those dances to me is so seductive. I feel like I'm watching child porn, and so like I'll just like log. I would not let my like 14-year-old daughter do those dances, but I guess this is 2020. I don't know.
All right. So what are you looking forward to most? Okay. So let's say we start to get a little bit back to normal.
Yeah.
And things start to get out there. What are you most excited about? What do you have on the calendar that's in your ballywig that you want to get on and do?
That's a great question. I think entertainment, I don't think people realized how hard entertainment would be hit from something like this, but I've been able to see it. Like I was probably going to have this show with Yahoo come through, and that like pretty much like we were like signing the contracts when this happened. As well as like all the TV segments, which is where like I made a bulk of my money from for so long here. And I guess I would love to get back into like being back on a TV set, which I usually would say I hate, but I realized through quarantine, which I already kind of do, I thrive like severely, disgustingly high levels of stress. And I love that energy. And it's like kind of disgusting, but I love it. So I would love to like be back on a TV show, even though I'm usually like, I hate this, get me out of here. But I'm not like someone who likes to go out to dinner. I don't like parties or events. So I'm not going to be like, I like that. But I would love to get back into doing something where I like am on high levels of stress.
Between obviously LA and Connecticut, I guess it's better in Connecticut now, like more open than it is out in LA, right? Way better, right?
Yeah. I mean, I moved out at 17 and I haven't been in Connecticut for this long since I'm 22 now, 5 years? And it's completely different here. I mean, there's still like all of my friends who stayed in LA when I left like 2 months ago, they all got COVID. And I was like, I would have been at all their parties, everything. And I just didn't want to deal with it. So, I mean, I guess that says enough. I think people in LA are incredibly reckless.
It's weird because like they were so strict here in New York. I mean, I didn't see people for several months, like at all. The thing that got me was Florida. I can't speak for what it was like in LA, but in Florida, there's so much interaction between the New York and area in Florida that Florida had to know that it was coming. Like it was crazy rampant over here in March and April. I find it amazing that it took that long for people in Florida. They weren't wearing masks, or they were just out and about. And now, of course, you can't shut everything down. We were shut down over here, so nothing was open.
Yeah.
Now with everything reopened, you're not going to go back to shutdown. We're just going to deal with a lot of this stuff. But
yeah,
it makes for somebody who podcasts a lot, an easy thing because like, I'm just doing everything remote. I haven't had an in-person podcast in a long time.
yeah. Felt like though your stuff was really remote, or no? You were doing a lot of in-person stuff?
Not since the very, very beginning. And you used to do some stuff in studio. I remember that.
Yeah, always like in studio, on TV sets, everything. And I like that the most, but obviously like now you can't do that. But I would say like now I'm really glad that I run my own company and it's like so based off of social media, but I would never also wish a pandemic to happen to like any future generation. So I'm not going to be an influencer or like start a company because there might be a pandemic. Like, no.
That would be a little bit much, right?
Yeah.
So here's the real question for you. We are now celebrating our 500th episode. Let me tell you why we're doing this, right?
Yeah.
We're doing this whole celebration because I was actually supposed to have a lot of milestones this year. I had parents who had major milestone anniversaries and in-laws and my own. And my kid's supposed to have graduation. Son hit 20 years old. All those things didn't happen the way we wanted to. So when the 500th episode of Thrive Loud was coming out, we said, we're going to do something. We don't know exactly what it was. So I asked my team what we should do. And they said, well, you should definitely have like a bunch of guests come together for the actual 500th episode, but maybe you can do some other promotion. So I said, well, what do I do something in Instagram TV? And they're like, well, you have to get Alexa Curtis. and I stopped. And here's why. Here's the reason why. I go, why? They go, because nobody's as entertaining as any of the other guests you've ever had on the show. I said, stop. Like, come on. But it's true. You're an entertainer. Even your regular comments are just like, this is the coffee I'm going to have today. So you should know you have a natural flair for this.
Oh my God, thank you so much. Honestly, you're making me blush, but that means a lot. Thank you. I always said you have such a good like voice. Like sometimes I'll listen to voices, like the guy from How I Built This on NPR, Guy Raz, and like you guys have such good voices. So you're very good at that.
Well, I had to have something, for having a face for radio. I guess that was the best thing that I could have here.
Yeah.
Okay, so I want we're gonna do this thing that we call the speed round that we did with more recent guests, and we didn't get to do it when we were on the show. When you were on the show. So we're going to have a little fun with this. I want you to say the thing that comes to your mind first. You can think about it. These are things that make you feel good. Okay. All right? So because I already asked you what your all-time favorite movie was or something like that. But now I want to know, what song do you listen to that gets you pumped up or when you work out?
Oh my God, there's this song called Groove by Oliver Heldens, I think, and I just found it and it's amazing. I'm also the worst person to ask this to because I will like say anything on my mind and I don't know that's the best, but okay, keep going.
That's what we want out of this thing, Alexa. That's exactly what we want. A favorite food that's not a dessert.
Oh my God, steak with French fries.
Okay. A favorite food that is a dessert.
Ugh, I love blondies. Like I dream of these things, so they're not like rare from my mind. I love
Something you'd like to do more of.
Turn my cell phone off, but I feel like but yeah, I would like to like fully go off the grid more.
Okay. Something you'd like to do less of.
Be on my cell phone.
Okay. We got both of those on both sides. I like that. If you could snap your fingers and be anywhere, where are you?
I would honestly probably be in Turkey to see my nephews or in Lake Tahoe.
On the next year anniversary, when obviously we're going to speak in between this because it's too long in between here. Then in 1 year from now, what's a big goal that you have for your company, for yourself, for your brand that you're trying to achieve?
I want the show that was supposed to come through this year to happen, or for the podcast that I'm starting with my friend to get picked up by a network. But that's like this year. So next year, I don't know. It's so based on this year.
Okay, so we just hope to have anything this year is what we're shooting for.
Yeah.
So lastly, there's some more promotions that are coming. Have we done enough promotions for this 500th?
No, I love when people do that. And you like tag me and everything. It's so easy to repost. It's just phenomenal.
There's actually we just did a post today, which has like this speed video of about, I don't know, like 60 or 70 of the 500 guests. We feel really bad that we couldn't get everybody, but that would have been like 500 some odd guests.
Yeah.
There's more stuff coming. Something that you want as taking in content, because here we are, we're at 500 episodes. We're always going to do something new on our program. What do you want? What's something that you want to see more of? It doesn't have to be from our show. It could be from any show. Other types of content that you want to be entertained by.
That's a great idea. I like to see people honestly just being really authentic. Like I would like, just from a social media perspective, to see like more people who post, like, which they're not going to do, but like I would love to see more people who post, you know, such like filtered pictures, like what do you eat in a day, like what do you wake up like what do you actually think about, in the way that I post that kind of authenticity. Like I would like to see that. And I also love to see when like super successful entrepreneurs, like how they got there. And I think a lot of times people don't, like someone like Sarah Blakely. I don't know if you're familiar with her from Spanx.
Of course. Like, we've had Jesse, her husband, on the show.
I love him. And I think like she does such a great job of showing that like come up. But I would love to see like every super successful entrepreneur do that, because I just think it really helps the people below, like those generations below them, realize that everything that they're doing is like, that's just on the path to get there and not to give up.
So I've got a suggestion in that thing, and then I have an ask of you. Okay, so ready for this?
Yeah.
This along those lines, I actually would like to see a show that is all about the failures. I want all the things that didn't work. Yeah. I want the ideas that they thought was a good one and why it didn't work. I think that would be great. I want the failure show. I want something that talks about why this, you know, how I built this or how I broke this. Yeah. Maybe that's the new show I'd love to see.
I like that.
Yeah, that would be cool. I think we could co-host it if you want. Yeah. The other show that's coming, you'll hear more about this. We're promoting it here. We're kind of introducing it now. There's so many great shows out there and great content, and they have very niche audiences. So we're trying to figure out what draws people in, or more notably, why they listen. Yeah. So there's a new podcast show that we're launching with Aimcast, one of our sponsors and promoters. They make internal podcasts, and they make like for big companies to have their own networks. Oh, cool. And so we're going to actually do a show that features a lot of these companies called Why They Listen. And, but we're also going to tap in to other social people who have their own communities, their own brand, and have their own following, whether it's for a blog, a podcast, an audio show. And we're going to loop that in, because we're going to actually speak to those content creators so they can share why their audience listens. Yeah. We'd like to have you on that program.
Oh, I love that. That sounds cool.
Yeah, so I think we're going to make a date to go do that, because I think it's a perfect fit for your audience and your message and who we're targeting. Sound like a good idea?
Thank you. No, and congrats on 500. I mean, I ended mine after 130, so 500, I like give you props.
I think we're crazy. I think we need our heads examined. And what's even crazier is like, I mean, it's already almost at 550. I mean, like, you know, there's already like a queue out there. So
like what, 4 years? Like I got so tired of mine after like a year and a half. I can't even imagine like 5 years.
It's yeah, it's a little nuts. But you know, we also remember we went from one show a week to then to two, yeah, to then to three, sometimes four, and a lot of our business though came from that. Like, so we would use the show as a draw for that. So that it became part of it. And then all the authors that were coming, we funneled that, and I partnered with an amazing woman, Jane Hubelmeyer, and Jane, she has a business bedside reading. So we took all of the authors and went through that channel. So we had like our own separate show that funneled in as well, because it was like too many writers all at once.
Yeah. No, that makes sense. I mean, I felt like I can kind of relate, because I feel like I had just like started making money off, like good money, and now I'm like ending it, and I'm like, I feel like if I was at 500, I could be making so much money. But it's such a good, like a podcast, good break.
Yeah, I think it's also, simply put, it's the greatest networking tool I've ever encountered. Just think of the fact that you and I have become connected through the podcast, and we never actually been in the same room together. Although that would be difficult to do anyway these days, unless we wear masks.
I know, but no, you're so right. Like the best way I think to meet people and like set yourself apart, like hear your voice.
Definitely.
Yeah. Alexa
Curtis. See, we did it pretty short. I just wanted to do a quick in and out. You know, my motto: be brief, be bright, be gone. So excited to have you here. Continued success to you. I hope no one breaks into your car. I hope you learn how to get a ladder and climb to the top of a window to shut it down.
I'm like eyeing this through my head, so I hope so too. And hopefully one day we can actually record it in person.
Gotcha. I'm giving shout outs here. I see Michelle is here. Michelle is here giving a shout. We got our Turnkey podcast folks all on here. I don't know all the people that are here, but everybody, this was great. And Alexa, you rock. You're simply amazing. Keep doing what you do.
Oh, it's so good to see you.
Absolutely. You're the best. Thanks for coming on.
You've been listening to Thrive Loud with your host, Lou Diamond. Check us out on the web at thriveloud.com and follow us on Instagram, LinkedIn, Twitter, and Facebook at Thrive Loud. And check us out on the Good Pods app at Thrive Loud, where you can follow, listen, and connect directly to Lou and all of the Thrive Loud episodes. Thanks for listening.